Amara stood in the middle of the small, crowded living room. The air was hot and filled with laughter. Not the kind that warms your heart, but the kind that burns it. Her relatives sat around, eating and talking loudly, and she could feel their eyes on her. Her uncle leaned back in his chair and said loudly, "Amara, you're 26 and still chasing that useless acting dream. When will you get a real job? You'll die poor if you keep wasting your life like this." The room burst into laughter. Even her aunt, who used to be kind to her, covered her mouth as she giggled. Amara tried to smile, to show it didn't hurt, but her throat felt tight. She could feel her heart pounding as her eyes started to sting. Someone else added, "All her mates are working or married. But Amara? She's still running around with scripts and audition papers." The laughter grew louder. Every word felt like a knife. Amara lowered her gaze and forced a small smile. "It's okay," she whispered, but no one heard her. She looked around the room, at her cousins showing off their new phones, her uncle talking about his new car, and her mother sitting in silence, saying nothing to defend her. That silence hurt even more than the words. When the laughter finally died down, Amara stood up slowly. "I'll be going now," she said softly. No one paid attention. She walked toward the door, clutching her old folder. The folder was torn at the edges and filled with rejection letters from studios that never called her back. She held it close to her chest like it was her last bit of pride. Outside, the evening air hit her face. It felt cool but heavy. She walked down the dusty road, her slippers dragging on the ground. A tear slipped down her cheek, but she quickly wiped it away. She stopped under a streetlight, opened the folder, and looked at one of the audition papers. The ink was faded, and the paper was crumpled, but it reminded her why she started. She loved acting. She loved storytelling. The laughter from the house still echoed in her ears. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and said to herself in a low, trembling voice, "One day, they'll remember this day." Then she straightened her back, held the folder tighter, and kept walking into the night that Amara's father died when she was only 9 years old. He had been a kind man, full of laughter and dreams for his little girl. After he passed away, everything in their house changed. Her mother, once warm and loving, became cold and bitter. Life grew harder each year. Bills piled up, food became scarce, and her mother's anger became louder. She often shouted, "If your father hadn't left us so early, maybe I wouldn't be stuck with all this suffering." Amara would stay quiet, listening, her heart aching. She missed her father's smile, his stories, his gentle words that always told her to follow her dreams. Even when things were tough, Amara never stopped dreaming. In secondary school, she fell in love with drama. Whenever she stepped on stage, she felt alive. She decided to study theater arts at the university. But when she told her mother, the woman almost fainted from anger. "A useless course," her mother shouted. "Do you think acting will feed you? Look around, Amara. No one becomes successful from that nonsense." Amara tried to explain. "Mama, it's what I love. I want to act. I want to tell stories that touch people." Her mother turned away. "Then don't come crying to me when hunger hits you." Still, Amara went ahead with her dream. She worked hard, performed in student plays, and won small awards on campus. People often told her she had something special, the way she could make an audience laugh or cry. It gave her hope. After graduation, she thought the world would open up for her. But reality was harsh. Every audition she attended ended with the same words, "We'll get back to you." None ever did. She sent emails, made calls, waited for replies, nothing. Months passed, then years. She tried to stay strong, but life in Lagos was expensive. Rent, food, transport. Everything was a struggle. Her mother kept saying, "I warned you. If you studied something useful, maybe you'd have a job by now." The pressure grew worse after her boyfriend, Deji, left her. They had been together for 2 years. He was caring at first, always telling her to keep believing. But when she couldn't contribute money for their bills, things changed. "Amara," he said one evening, "love doesn't pay rent. I'm tired of struggling. You have dreams, yes, but I need someone who can build with me." She looked at him with tears in her eyes. "Deji, I'm trying." He interrupted. "Trying isn't enough." That night he packed his things and left. Amara cried until her voice broke. But the next morning, she still got up, washed her face, and went to look for work. The only job she could find was at a supermarket near her apartment. She worked long hours, stacking shelves and serving customers who often treated her like she was invisible. The pay was little, but it kept her from sleeping hungry. Still, she never gave up on acting. Every week, she searched online for auditions. Sometimes, she used her last money for transport to attend them. Most times, she returned home disappointed, clutching her torn folder of scripts. Her best friend, Tenny, was the only person who truly believed in her. Tenny was also an artist, a photographer who understood what it meant to struggle for a dream. Amara, one day, people will know your name, Tenny would say, helping her rehearse lines in their tiny one-room apartment. Amara would laugh softly. I hope so. I just don't want to keep failing. You're not failing, Tenny would reply. You're preparing. Sometimes at night, when the generator noise from other houses filled the air, Amara would lie awake, staring at the ceiling. She would think about her life, the dreams, the heartbreak, the laughter she had lost. But she would also imagine a stage, bright lights, and an audience clapping for her. That picture in her mind kept her going. Her mother rarely called anymore, except to remind her of her useless career. Each time, Amara listened quietly, then hung up and went back to practicing her lines in front of the mirror. Her clothes were old, her shoes worn out, but her spirit refused to die. She knew she was meant for more than just surviving. Deep down, something inside her whispered that her time would come. Every morning before work, she would look at herself in the mirror and say softly, "Don't give up. Not today." Even when her stomach growled from hunger, even when auditions rejected her again and again, Amara held on to that small voice of hope, because though life had taken everything from her, her father, her love, her peace, it had not taken her dream. And that dream was the only thing that kept her alive. One afternoon, Amara's phone rang while she was resting after a long shift at the supermarket. She almost didn't answer. Her body was tired, her spirit even more tired. But something told her to pick it up. "Hello, is this Amara?" a man's voice said. "Yes, who's speaking?" she asked softly, sitting up on her bed. "This is Mr. Ojo," the man replied. "I'm a TV producer. I came across one of your old audition tapes. I must say, you have real talent. I'd like to invite you to a small talk show we're hosting. It's about the struggles of young dreamers like you." For a few seconds, Amara couldn't speak. No one had ever called her to say something good about her acting. You saw my tape?" she asked quietly. "Yes," Mr. Ojo said warmly. "We'd love to have you share your story on the show. It's not a big production, but I think people will connect with your journey." After the call ended, Amara just sat there, holding the phone and staring into space. A TV producer had seen her tape. Her tape. It felt almost unreal. She ran to tell her mother, who was sitting outside peeling yam. "Mama, guess what? A TV producer called me. He wants me to speak on his show." Her mother frowned. "What kind of useless show?" "It's about young people chasing their dreams," Amara said, smiling shyly. "He saw my old audition video." Her mother dropped the knife and glared at her. "So you'll go and embarrass yourself on television? What will you even say? That you're a jobless girl chasing a foolish dream?" "Amara, stop wasting your time. Go and find a real job." Her mother's words hit hard, but Amara didn't argue. She went back inside, her excitement slowly turning into shame. Maybe her mother was right. Maybe going would make things worse. Who would care about her story anyway? She wasn't successful. She was just another struggling girl. That evening, she told Tenny about the call. Tenny's eyes lit up. "Girl, that's your chance. Don't even think twice about it." Amara frowned. "It's just a small show. Maybe no one will even watch it." "Maybe," Tenny said, smiling. "But maybe they will. Maybe someone will see you and your life could change. You never know what God is planning." Amara sighed deeply. "I don't even have anything nice to wear." Tenny laughed. "You can borrow my green dress. It'll fit you perfectly." Amara smiled weakly. "Are you sure?" "I'm sure," Tenny said. "This might be the start of something new." The next day, Amara stood in front of the mirror, wearing Tenny's green dress. It was a little tight around the waist, but it made her look confident. She borrowed Tenny's small purse too, and used a touch of lipstick for courage. Her hands trembled as she looked at herself. "You can do this," she whispered. "You've faced worse." The studio was small, just a few lights, 2 cameras, and a simple backdrop that said dreams and hustle. Mr. Ojo welcomed her warmly. "You look lovely, Amara. Just relax and speak from your heart." When the interview began, Amara's voice shook at first. "My name is Amara," she started softly. "I've been chasing my acting dream for years, but it hasn't been easy." She talked about her rejections, her heartbreak, and the people who told her she'd never make it. She spoke honestly, without trying to sound perfect. As she spoke, something in her changed. The more she shared, the lighter she felt. It was as if she was letting go of all the pain she had carried inside her for so long. When the show ended, Mr. Ojo smiled and shook her hand. "You spoke beautifully. I know people will feel this." Amara thanked him, though she didn't believe him fully. As she walked home that evening, she felt both proud and afraid. Proud that she went, afraid that it wouldn't matter. But deep down, a tiny spark of hope flickered again. The same hope that had never truly died, no matter how many times the world tried to crush it. She didn't know it yet, but that simple phone call, that one small show, was about to change everything. On the show, Amara spoke from her heart. Her hands shook a little at first, but once she started, the words flowed out like a river that had been waiting too long to be free. She talked about rejection, about going to auditions and being told, "You're not what we're looking for." She talked about poverty, how she worked at a supermarket just to eat, and how some days she went to bed hungry. And she talked about betrayal, how the people she loved most didn't believe in her dreams. "I just want to tell anyone listening," she said softly, "that your dream is not foolish. Even when no one believes in you, believe in yourself. One day your no will turn into a yes." The studio was silent for a few seconds after she finished. Even the cameraman lowered his head for a moment. Then Mr. Ojo smiled and said, "Thank you, Amara. That was powerful." She left the studio not knowing what to expect. She didn't think many people would watch the show. It was a small, low-budget program after all. But within 2 days, everything changed. Tenny called her early in the morning, almost shouting through the phone, "Amara, you're all over social media." Amara rubbed her sleepy eyes. "What are you talking about?" "Your interview. Someone posted the clip online. People are sharing it everywhere. Check your phone." Amara quickly opened her old phone and went online. There it was, a short clip from the show with the caption, "This girl's courage broke my heart." Thousands of people had liked and shared it. The comments were full of encouragement. "I saw you. You inspired me. Your story is my story too. Keep going, Amara. You're meant for greatness." Tears filled her eyes. She couldn't believe it. For the first time in years, people were not laughing at her. They were cheering for her. But her mother wasn't impressed. When Amara showed her the video, she simply shook her head. "So what?" her mother said sharply. "Does viral fame feed anyone? Can likes and shares pay rent?" "Mama, it's not about money," Amara tried to explain. "People are finally listening. Maybe something good will come from it." Her mother turned away. "When it brings food to this house, then come and talk to me." Those words cut deep, but Amara tried not to let them kill her joy. She focused on the positive comments and the new messages that kept coming in. Then one evening her phone buzzed again, but this time, it was a message from Deji. "Hey Amara," he wrote. "I saw your video. You were amazing. I'm proud of you. Maybe we can talk sometime." Amara stared at the message for a long moment. The same Deji who left her when she was struggling now wanted to check on her. Her heart felt heavy, but not in the same way it used to. She smiled sadly and turned off her phone without replying. Some doors were better left closed. A few days later, Mr. Ojo called again. "Amara," he said with excitement, "we're starting a new TV drama soon. I want you to audition for one of the lead roles." Amara froze. "Me? Are you serious?" "Completely. Your talk touched people. I believe you can bring that same honesty to the screen. Come by next week." Amara thanked him again and again. She couldn't believe it. After years of rejection, someone was finally giving her a real chance. She told Tenny, who screamed with joy, "See? I told you. This is your moment." But when Amara told her mother, everything fell apart again. "What did you just say?" her mother shouted. "You want to act on television? Over my dead body?" "Mama, please listen," Amara begged. "This is a real chance, a proper role in a TV series." Mr. Ojo said. "I don't care what that man said. her mother cut in. No daughter of mine will go and disgrace herself on television. Acting is for people with no future. Mama, it's my dream, Amara said softly. Her mother's face hardened. Your dream has brought nothing but shame and poverty to this house. I said no. Something inside Amara broke. She stood there in silence for a moment, tears running down her cheeks. All my life, you've told me to stop dreaming. But that dream is the only thing that's kept me alive. Her mother pointed to the door. Then go and live your dream somewhere else. Amara's hands trembled as she packed her small bag. She took her old folder of scripts, a few clothes, and the little money she had saved. Her mother didn't say another word. Before leaving, Amara looked back one last time. Mama, she said quietly, I love you. But I can't keep living small because you're afraid of what people will say. Then she stepped out and closed the door behind her. Outside, the night was quiet. The wind was soft against her face. For the first time in years, she felt both scared and free. She didn't know where she was going to sleep that night, but she knew she was walking toward her future. Tenny opened her door with a worried look when Amara arrived with her small bag. What happened? Amara smiled weakly. I finally left. Tenny hugged her tight. Then welcome home, my star. That night, as Amara lay on Tenny's couch staring at the ceiling, she whispered to herself, the price of a dream is high, but I'll pay it. And in her heart she knew, no matter how hard it got, she was never turning back. Amara won the role. She could hardly believe it when Mr. Ojo called to say, Congratulations, Amara. You got the part. You're our lead actress. For a moment she couldn't speak. She just held her phone shaking, as tears filled her eyes. I got the role, she whispered. Yes, Mr. Ojo laughed. Get ready, young lady. You're about to make history. From that day, everything changed. The studio gave her a new script, a small apartment near the set, and a little allowance. She woke up early every morning, practiced her lines late into the night, and worked harder than she ever had before. She wanted to prove to herself that she truly belonged there. The drama series was called Broken Wings. It told the story of a young woman who fought against rejection to follow her dream. A story that felt almost exactly like Amara's own life. She poured her heart into every scene, crying real tears when her character cried, smiling with real hope when her character found courage. When the first episode aired, the response was overwhelming. People couldn't stop talking about it. Viewers filled social media with messages. Who is that new actress? She's amazing. She feels so real, like she's lived this story. Amara Okafor, remember that name. By the third week, Broken Wings became one of the most watched TV shows in the country. Amara's face was suddenly everywhere, on posters, magazines, and even giant billboards along busy roads. She started getting invited to interviews. Journalists asked her about her journey, about how she started from nothing. She always smiled humbly and said, "It wasn't easy, but I never stopped believing." Meanwhile, her family watched from home. Her relatives, the same people who had once laughed at her, now sat quietly in front of the TV, watching her shine. Her uncle, the one who had said she'd die poor, kept rubbing his head, unable to speak. Her cousins, who once mocked her, whispered among themselves. Even her mother, sitting on the old sofa, stared at the screen in disbelief. There was her daughter, the same girl she had called foolish, now sitting on a TV talk show, speaking with confidence and grace. One evening, during a live TV interview, the host asked Amara, "You've inspired so many young people. What would you say to those who once doubted you?" Amara smiled gently. She paused for a moment, then looked straight into the camera. "They told me I would die poor," she said softly. "But I thanked them, because their doubt became my fuel. Every harsh word pushed me to fight harder. Without their disbelief, I might not have found my strength." At that moment, the cameras zoomed in on her face, calm, strong, and shining with pride. At home, her family watched in silence. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Her hands trembled as she whispered, "That's my daughter." Her relatives said nothing. The room that once echoed with laughter and mockery was now filled with quiet shame. Later that night, Amara's phone buzzed with messages. Hundreds of them. Fans, journalists, and strangers thanking her for her courage. But among them was one message that made her pause. It was from Deji. "Amara," it read, "I watched your show tonight. I'm proud of you. You've become the woman I always knew you could be." Maybe we could talk just as friends. Amara read the message slowly. For a second, she felt that old pain, the memory of how he left when she had nothing. Then she smiled, not with anger, but with peace. She typed one word. No. Then she deleted the message and put her phone away. The next morning, she woke up early for another interview. As her car drove past a huge billboard showing her face, she couldn't help but smile. The girl who was once laughed at now looked down at the city with confidence. When she arrived on set, crew members clapped as she walked in. "Our star has arrived," someone shouted playfully. Amara laughed, shaking her head. "Please, I'm still learning," she said. But deep down, she knew something powerful. She had earned her place. That night, after filming, she sat alone in her small apartment, looking out the window. The city lights twinkled like stars. She thought about her father, her mother, the rejections, and every painful moment that had led her here. She whispered softly, "Thank you, God, for not letting me give up." Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Mr. Ojo. "Amara," he said excitedly, "you've just been nominated for Best Actress of the Year." Amara covered her mouth, gasping. "What?" "Yes," he laughed. "Get ready for the award show. You've made it, my dear." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she smiled. The girl who once walked home in shame, clutching a torn folder of rejection papers, was now a name everyone knew. It truly was the night everything changed. Amara now used her fame and voice to help other young women who were struggling like she once did. She remembered what it felt like to be laughed at, ignored, and told that her dream was foolish. So, she started a small foundation to support young girls who wanted to chase their dreams, whether in acting, music, or art. Every month, she visited schools and community centers to speak to young women. She told them, "Don't let anyone tell you what you can't become. Your dream is valid, even if no one else believes in it." The girls listened with shining eyes. Some of them cried and hugged her afterward, saying, "You give us hope, Amara." Her face was now on magazine covers and talk shows, but she stayed humble. Fame hadn't changed her heart. It had only given her more reasons to keep pushing others forward. One day, she decided to do something she had been thinking about for a long time. She called a real estate agent and bought her mother a new house, a small, comfortable home with a big garden and peaceful surroundings. When she took her mother there, the older woman was speechless. She looked around at the painted walls, the clean kitchen, the soft bed, and the flowers outside. Tears filled her eyes. "Amara," she whispered, "you did all this?" Amara nodded with a gentle smile. "Yes, Mama. It's yours." Her mother broke down in tears and hugged her tightly. "You proved me wrong," she cried. "I told you that acting would bring you nothing, but you showed me I was wrong. I'm so sorry, my child." Amara hugged her mother back, holding her close. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Amara whispered softly in her ear, "I didn't need to prove anything, Mama. I just needed to live my life." Her mother cried even harder, whispering prayers of thanks. That moment healed both of them. All the pain, all the years of misunderstanding, all the harsh words. It was finally over. In the months that followed, Amara's story became an inspiration across the country. A popular TV network made a short documentary about her journey, calling it The Girl Who Refused to Give Up. The program showed clips of her first interview, her emotional scenes from Broken Wings, and her speeches to young girls. It ended with her sitting in her new office, smiling and saying, "If I had listened to those who laughed at me, I would never have found my purpose." When the documentary aired, millions of people watched it. Messages poured in from women all over the country, and even from abroad. "You reminded me not to give up. Your story gave me strength. I'm following my dream again because of you." Amara read every message with tears in her eyes. She had once been the girl who walked away in shame, clutching rejection letters. Now, she was the woman giving others the courage to stand tall. One evening, she sat on her balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold. The air was calm, and birds flew across the horizon. She thought about her father and whispered, "Papa, I made it." She didn't make it just because of fame or money. She made it because she never gave up on herself. Amara smiled softly. She had become the woman they once feared. A woman who didn't break, who didn't quit, and who didn't let the world silence her dream. Amara sat quietly in her dressing room after the big award ceremony. The lights were dim now, and the noise from the crowd had faded away. She was alone, just her, the mirror, and the sound of her own heartbeat. On the wall behind her was something precious, her old, torn audition folder. The same one she had carried to countless auditions. The same one people once laughed at. Now, it was neatly framed in glass, like a trophy of her journey. She stared at it for a long time, smiling softly. Around her were expensive gowns, golden trophies, and flowers from fans and friends. But that old folder meant the most. It reminded her of the days when no one believed in her, when she had to fight every day just to keep her dream alive. Amara leaned closer to the mirror and whispered, almost to her younger self, "You didn't die poor. You lived rich in courage." Her reflection smiled back. Not as a star, not as a celebrity, but as the same girl who refused to give up. Outside, her name flashed on TV screens all across the country. Best Actress Amara Okafor. Families sat at home watching her speech replay. The same families who once doubted her, the same people who once whispered, "She'll never make it." Now they were watching her on TV, proud, amazed, silent. Amara took one last deep breath, stood up, and picked up her award. She turned off the dressing room lights and walked out with quiet confidence. As the door closed behind her, her reflection lingered for a moment in the mirror, smiling, peaceful, and shining with strength. Fade out. Her name glows across the TV screen. And they watched me on TV. Besties. Two hearts. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If Amara's story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. See you in the next one. Bye. Sparkling Heart.